The traffic. Oh my God, it's not even fucking open. Is it open? God, yo, I forgot I was even on live. I'm so stressed out. This fucking traffic, yo. Like I'm starving. My sugar is 54. I shouldn't even be fucking driving. What am I supposed to do? Lay down and die in the street?
Good morning. Welcome to Starbucks. How can I help you?
Yes. Can I do 2 of your bacon and cheese bites?
You sure can. And what else for you?
Just sriracha, please.
Pack of sriracha for both?
Yes, for each one, please.
You got it. Anything else?
That'll be it.
All right. Come on around, please.
Thank you. I'm not even supposed to be up. I have to fucking work. How the fuck am I going to do that on no goddamn sleep? People will never fucking get it. It's fine, Brooke. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to make enough goddamn money to even put gas in the car. I was doing the math last night. My paycheck will go to gas. That's all I'm going to make. $200 a week. That's gas. What the fuck is this? Goddamn, YouTube. And I've got it to where it's on no fucking screen. No green screen. And it's still just like glitching the fuck out. It shouldn't even fucking, that button shouldn't even fucking be there. For the 100 millionth time, it needs to be a fucking sentence button. Good morning. Oh God, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. How does that even get on? All of my devices are dead, so I have to go buy chargers. This fucking setup is not working. That phone is on like 12% and it has been for 2 days because I only have one fucking box. This is why you need a jackery living out of a car. Especially if you're going to be going to school and or working. You will have to have one. There's going to be no way to charge your computer. No way to charge your devices. It will drain your car battery. And I've just bought a $400 battery for this car 6 months ago. And my battery is already messed up. I already need a new battery. So you might as well spend $1,000 on a jackery so you're not spending $800 a year on 2 batteries. I was up at 5 o'clock, and you know, I gotta fucking work tonight, you know. Gotta fucking work. Well, no sleep. First day. This is why I quit my job down here last time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Because my AC broke, and I had no way to sleep, and I was working 3rd shift. So I had no choice but to crawl my ass back to North Carolina. I'm talking 120, 125 heat index. Imagine trying to sleep through that when you have to work 3rd. It's impossible. You won't be able to. I saw some dumbass on here this morning. First of all, you little shit, you gonna get people killed telling them that they don't fucking... First of all, you don't sleep with your fucking windows down unless you want to get murdered in your sleep. I saw some van lifer telling people to leave their windows down. Tell me you've lived a life of privilege without telling me you've lived a life of privilege, honey. You're going to get people killed. Not only that, they're going to end up suffocating. I'm coming across. I'm coming across. I'm coming straight across. I'm coming straight across. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Like, he's like, oh, I got a fan, da-da-da-da. What he forgets to tell you, though, is that it's so hot at night, he has to run the air. Because if he didn't, he'd suffocate and die. It's like they get on fucking line and they just lie about how easy this is because they're trying to build their channel and get their channel off the ground as a van lifer themselves. And so they gear people in a horrible direction that is dangerous. Extremely dangerous. Somebody take his damn advice and end up dead. It's crazy. You cannot leave your windows open or doors unlocked. Unless you're an absolute idiot and you have no safety mechanism, like you have no will to survive, honey. Dumbasses. Well, when they find him dead, y'all know who I'm talking about because he done suffocated in a fucking car. Or he got robbed in his sleep by some homeless person with a knife. Or worse, a gun. I'm literally shaking like a fucking leaf on a tree. Well, I could have saw a doctor last week, but you know, let's just hope that we don't die. The lies motherfuckers tell. I also need blood sugar sticks for my finger so I can test my blood sugar at work and shit. Sticks. What did I say? Oh, cords. Android fast charging cable. iPhone fast charging cable. Ain't got time for this shit. Why do I always park with the fucking sun? I literally went to a different parking lot to get the fucking sun out of my face. I literally could eat a whole fucking all-star. I can't even speak. All-star breakfast for the 5th fucking time. I ate that salad last night before I went to bed. I also had one of those beef jerky sticks. I got up and checked the macros on this, making sure they were all right. 19 grams of protein. Damn, they gave me extra sriracha. How nice. I got 2 extra packs too right there. Yay. Thank you for looking out. They just opened that Starbucks literally like 2 weeks ago, I think. I hate to go through there in a bad mood. It wasn't like I was rude or anything, but I don't tip anyways. That's literally your job. That's what they pay you a fucking livable wage for, sir, ma'am, y'all. Stop fucking tipping. God. Make us fucking look bad because you want to tip a fucking barista that's merely doing their job. I blame tipping culture on people who don't privilege people. I blame tipping culture on privileged people. And stupid people, because you got to be dumb not to realize that Starbucks is paying them an hourly wage. Why would you tip them? I used to. If you go back and look at the start of this channel, you'll see I used to. I stopped. I can't afford to. I'm done with tipping culture. So done. There was times I used to, on live, I've ran back to the car and grabbed quarters just so I could tip somebody. I'm so done. These motherfuckers don't work half as hard as I do, but yet they make $100 in tips a day? Absolutely not. That Starbucks I went to yesterday, it in the drive-thru had a fucking bad attitude first thing in the morning. Didn't want to do his job, had his apron half on, shit hanging out of his face. I looked behind him and there's some bitch with like a double mastectomy standing back there with a bald head. I said, Lord have mercy. Y'all scaring me first thing in the morning. Your attitude was nasty and now you're scaring me. For real. That guy that was just handing me this food, he looked normal and everybody else did in there too. Huh. I wonder if Starbucks is going to bring normalcy on the outside back to the industry. Don't it feel like that's what they're trying to do? Sounds like they're sick of the liberal BS too. Oh no, not the pot calling the kettle black. They created this problem. I just want to be clear, they created their own problems. The amount of times I've tried to get hired at a Starbucks is unbelievable. Probably over 2 dozen. They never even look at my application or me twice. I look too normal. It would cause problems in the restaurant. You can look at me and tell that I'm conservative. You know what I mean? People need to wake up. It's kind of crazy that we pay this much money for shit anyways. I will say that these are only 5 ingredients, so I guess that does make it better. Last bite, damn, I could have ate 3 of them. I need energy for work tonight. To have energy for work tonight, you have to work on eating right now. Gotta properly nourish my body before I can damn go walk 25,000 steps tonight. Alright, I'm starting to feel better now. God, I was so angry. I was seeing double and I couldn't like think. And some asshole cut me off so he could go get him and his fat fucking kids Chick-fil-A. Little boy hanging out the window, look about 150 pounds. How? I don't even weigh 150 pounds. How can an approximate 10-year-old, 12-year-old weigh that much? And you cut me off so you could go kill him quicker? Man. Too early. And I'm supposed to be in bed. Sometimes I be wanting to go full minivan mode first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning. I just want to damn start hitting people with cars and shit. Good morning, Mini Pearl. Flutter by. Hey, y'all. I want to go full minivan psycho first thing in the morning sometime. Y'all see the motorcyclist that was hit on the minivan? No, the minivan hit the motorcyclist. He was trying to kill him. This guy in a minivan was not paying attention. He kept coming over the line onto a motorcyclist, into a motorcyclist lane. And the motorcyclist pulls up and he's like, hey, what are you doing? You know, and the minivan hits the son of a bitch. He literally crosses the line, hits him, and throws him out in the damn road. What is going on, y'all? God, I'm literally so done with the comments. As from now on, I'm not going to allow comments on my videos. I'm so done. Like, literally, I'm so done. It's like dealing with fucking children all the time. Like, only my regular followers are the ones, mainly my channel members, that have any fucking sense. It's like, goddamn, I'm literally talking about something important and all you got to talk about is my looks. Grow the fuck up. God. So fucking annoying. Same shit, different day, huh? I was in such a great mood. Such a great mood. What you looking at, little bitch? I got this kid staring at me. She's mean mugging me, so I blew her a kiss and then she started smiling. Starbucks. It was okay. 19 grams protein, 130 calories. I think it said 130. The macros on those egg bites. Those are one of the only decent options for breakfast fast food. Everything other is shit. It's literally the only item that is worth a damn to eat on the go for breakfast. I checked the calories, the sugar, and all of that. Those are made with 5 ingredients. And that's literally one of the best things that I've found to eat for breakfast. If you don't want to eat a big lunch, eat 2 of those for breakfast. And you probably shouldn't. You should probably eat 1 because you're not bodybuilding like I am. Now I'm debating if I want to go to, oh, thank you so much. Oh my God, you're the best. You're the best. I love you. I love you. I want to hug you. Oh man, a nice mama in a nice Honda minivan. Oh, let me die. Let me die. I'm going to have a heart attack. This is the moment the Lord's going to take me. Not a Honda being nice to me. Oh God. Usually they're passive aggressive as fuck because I drive a Chevy. They feel some type of way. Listen, bitch. I wish I had a minivan full of kids. Sorry. Come on, dude. You're going to make me get in an accident. What a dumbass. You're a dumbass. God. Running a red light. Leaving me sitting at 1. Yeah, that was nice. Thank you, Mama. Some kid was like mean mugging me. I'm like, what is going on? So I'm like, y'all saw. And then I blew her a kiss and she like cracked a smile. I was like, these kids are wild. She was probably about 15. These kids are wild. That kid was sitting there with fucking her. First of all, these bitches out here be wearing curtains. Those are not baby hairs. Bitch, you got grandma's curtains on your forehead. They don't even know what fucking baby hairs, little waves are, okay? They literally look crazy as fuck out here. And they don't even know it. The young generation be taking their hair, yo, and they plaster that shit to their But listen, boo, you always supposed to take this little bitty hair right here. You ain't supposed to be taking your bangs and swooping them over your damn forehead. Y'all look crazy. Stop it. I saw one girl's prom picture today. I said, oh my Lord. I think it was, she's a runaway. And they used her prom picture. And I was like, man, why'd they do her like that? She had fucking swoops down to her eyebrows. Bitch, where's your forehead? We are de-evolving at a rate that is disturbing. So first of all the girls I went to high school with, they do the same thing to their baby hairs back in the early 2000s and the 90s and stuff. These girls out here nowadays, they cut their they cut their bangs and then they use that as baby hairs and they got these big old swoops. It doesn't look right. It looks crazy. but that kid had it going. That kid had it going on. So I knew, I was like, man, God, here we go. Some kid staring me down. She was probably, no, she was like literally mean mugging. She said, no smile, I'm smiling. This kid was not smiling. Like, what are you doing, homie? Good morning. As soon as I said, and smiled, she smiled back. I was like, man, this kid playing a game out here this morning. They're funny. But yeah, no, that's not baby hairs, boo-boo. Those are wind sails. Those are wind sails, girl. It's crazy. Yes, this guy almost dies. The other guy goes to jail. The minivan man. The minivan man. He was, guess what he was in? Take a wild guess. A fucking Kia. Minivan. And he damn hit a motorcyclist. I mean, he didn't just hit him, homie. He aimed for him. And then he hit him through 2 lanes of traffic. He sideswiped him off the road. It's crazy. It's crazy. So then he runs from the scene of the accident, the minivan man, not the motorcycle man. The motorcycle man was laying on the ground with his damn, thank God he had on a helmet. If he wouldn't have wore a helmet, he'd be dead. 100%. His helmet was cracked in half almost. The impact of hitting the ground cracked it, shattered his helmet. So if he would have not had that helmet on, he would have died. 100%. No questions about it. What the hell is that? A yoga mat? Damn, Susan, if you don't come get your shit out the street. The impact was so forceful that it actually sent part of the clutch through his steel toe boot. It went through the steel toe boot. Listen to me. It went through the steel toe boot. I don't know if you've ever put on some steel toe boots, but the whole purpose of them is so your feet don't get injured while on the job. To have that clutch go through the boot is it's insane. It's insane. That really shows you how forceful. So that they're on the interstate, and the motorcyclist, the guy in the minivan is in the fast lane, and the guy in the motorcycle is trying to tell the guy, hey, you keep merging over on me. He's like, what are you doing? You can see this from surveillance footage. And the minivan just goes right through both lanes of traffic and hits him at a side swipe. He literally waited for the motorcycle to pick up a little bit, and then he just wham. I be telling y'all these motherfuckers out here crazy. Nobody believe me. Y'all know. Y'all know. Y'all gotta deal with them too. Out here trying to survive with all the stupid. What's wrong with people? I literally cannot wait to just migrate to land with no humans. I'm great as long as I'm not around people because they're fucking stupid. I'm great. So people cut me off in traffic and they're being dicks, passive aggressive because they chose to buy a fucking minivan. Y'all don't even understand. People literally feel bad about the lives that they've built, and they show that in their behavior. The passive aggressiveness, the pettiness, the childishness, the inability to accept responsibility, the lack of caring about themselves and others. And I heard something this morning that was so great. Communication is a form of respect. Amen. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Communication is a form of respect. The lack of ability to do so shows that you don't respect yourself when you can't communicate. You haven't even attempted to cultivate your soul by learning to communicate. And then when you're in a partnership or a friendship, listening to your partner and communicating is a form of respect. Listening and communicating. God, I'm sore. I guess those little things worked yesterday. I don't know if I've ever done those. I usually do preacher curls. So, I don't know. Can I come over? Should I just get over 5 miles ahead? Probably. Communication is a form of respect. had the craziest nightmares. Not really nightmares, but weird ass dreams. It was weird ass dreams. And then, I was up first thing this morning. I stayed up till 10 o'clock. And then I was still, so not only did I fucking wake up super early, but I didn't even get 6-7 hours of sleep. As soon as the sun was up, I was up. And I was actually up before the sun. Because I went to the bathroom at 5 o'clock. It's just, I mean, me personally, I've never met another person that lived out of their car and worked. So I don't know. I know I done it for like 6-9 months. And it was absolute hell. But I also had resources then that I don't have now. I had friends that I could stay in their driveway so that it wasn't too noisy. I could use their bathroom first thing in the morning if I needed to, stuff like that. But I personally have never met another person that worked out of their, that lived in their car and worked out of it. I know that they have them. I know a lot of people that do technology-based jobs can do that from home. So I understand how people like that do it. But when we're talking about service industry positions like I'm working, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I guess the main reason that they were saying that I don't need to work is because of the insomnia. The CPTSD, the insomnia that I suffer from, that is why they were telling me not to work. But I have to work. So I'm going against fucking medical advice. I have to work. I'm not filing for fucking disability. I would never do something like that. I want to work. I don't care. I just have to try, Speaking of CPTSD, there was a veteran 2 weeks ago that drove to the VA hospital and committed suicide at the front double doors on the porch of the hospital. And why this is not mainstream media? Why am I just finding out about this 2 weeks after? Oh, because our government doesn't want you to know that our soldiers are suffering. And there's so much stigma in the military behind mental health services and getting dishonorably discharged because of these things. It's crazy. So apparently he was suffering from CPTSD and he went through the VA to get treatment when he left the military. He was discharged. I don't know what the circumstances were. But with CPTSD comes extreme insomnia, nightmares, flashbacks, and it's to the point that it disrupts your daily life. A lot of people cannot work. A lot of people cannot go to school because the insomnia is so bad they do not have a normal schedule. Some patients will go days without sleeping, and it's from CPTSD because it's insomnia. It comes from the trauma. Your brain is all discombobulated and dysregulated. I mean, it's just not even firing properly. So this guy, this veteran, is getting treatment through the VA. The best treatment for CPTSD is going to be talk therapy, which is what I've been doing for 4 years. 3.5, 4, something like that. Might be closer to 5, I don't know. So that is what we have used to treat CPTSD for decades. It's only been since the radical left took over the medical industry that Big Pharma has really, and Big Pharma has always been a problem, but not as bad as it's been in recent years, the past 5 years specifically. Mental health drugs have seeped into every line of business. Oh, you don't feel like yourself, you feel like you're a boy in a girl's body? Here, take these mental health drugs and hormones and this and that and this and that. It's just sad. And then they do the same thing to soldiers. That's what happened to this guy. Instead of giving him the proper care, they shoved him full of psychiatric medications. Sure did. Got him strung out on psychotics when he was simply, and CPTSD, is a major, major injury to the psyche. So mixing mental health drugs with someone who doesn't need those mental health drugs, it's very dangerous. I don't understand why this man was given all of these drugs. It's disturbing, but in my opinion, it led to him taking his own life right in front of a VA hospital. His father and his family are now advocating, saying that they don't want their son and brother's death to be in vain. They said that he did this to bring awareness to this issue, that soldiers are forgotten. The VA is the VA, and they're trying to bring awareness to this situation. The whole family, they've become advocates for mental health issues. I want to know what psych meds they had him on. I would really like to know. I'd really like to know if there was any, Xanax or Klonopin or Ativan, any of that. That would explain a lot. Benzos. And let me tell you something, when they prescribe certain things like Seroquel or whatever for sleep, trazodone, and then you don't have it, you become suicidal in hours because you're used to a certain sleep pattern, and then that medication is cut off. It disrupts the brain chemistry, and oh my God, this is crazy. Sir, do you not see that fucking sidewalk? They literally made you a sidewalk so you could roll down the sidewalk. They did. They made you a sidewalk so your dumb ass could roll down the sidewalk. And you in the middle of the road. There ain't even a bike lane. Rude. I see why that minivan got mad now. I'm joking. Yeah, Seroquel, stuff like that they're not supposed to prescribe for sleep. They've been prescribing for sleep for years. Not supposed to do that. And when the medication is stopped, it causes people to go into a state of panic and withdrawal that could lead them to suicidal tendencies. So these doctors are playing a very dangerous game with patients who have not been, some of which have been properly diagnosed. They're playing a very dangerous game with mental health drugs. And here we have a soldier who has now taken his own life in front of the VA hospital, and does the media even report on it? Nope. They don't care. They don't care. The radical left doesn't like the military. They don't like anything government. So, of course, they're not going to want to support troops because they're pieces of shit. They don't even support human life. Look at what they do. They mutilated children. Come on now. Another problem that I'm going to run into is gas. Because if I do get the chance to sleep during the day, it'll be 90 degrees outside, so I have to run the truck. You know what I mean? Hey, Cecilia, good morning. U.S. Navy veteran killed himself in front of Audie L. Murphy Memorial Veterans Hospital to send message. Mark Miller, 54. He was the co-author of a book in 2021 called Suicide Stalks the Sniper. So it seems like Mark had been struggling probably before 2021, because if he wrote a book in 21, then something motivated him to do that. A decorated U.S. Navy veteran died by suicide outside of the Memorial Veterans Hospital earlier this week. He killed himself on Monday afternoon outside the front doors of the hospital. One of the chaplains from the VA said that Mark felt very isolated and he let down by the Veteran Health Administration and the military system. Mark's father said on social media, quote, "I lay the blame for my son's death on the VA system and the psychiatrist who drugged him instead of helping him." So if they give these guys what I am receiving for my CPTSD, which is talk therapy, If they give these guys talk therapy, it's next to nothing at cost. They'll have to pay the psychiatrist or the therapist for their time, but it's the VA. You would think that they would have funding to go to pay the employees that work at the VA. But if they get them strung out on mental health drugs, they can sit there and collect money for them till they die. Money from the patients till they die. What they do is they start on a small cocktail of drugs, and they try the patient on that. They get the patient good for maybe 2 or 3 months. They send him back out on the streets. Then he'll have a meltdown, come back, and they'll have to change the medication. And that can go on for 60 years. And they'll make money off of him for 60 years. This is not just happening. This is crazy that it's happening. It was shocking when it happened to me, and then seeing Kanye West, he's been through the same thing apparently. But to see it even creeping into the military, knowing that this patient needed different psychiatric services than he was offered, and they really just doped him up on drugs, it's just crazy. It's wild. It's like, what can take place to stop this from happening in this country? The misuse of mental health drugs. I don't know. Honestly, I think that we need to start prosecuting people for medical malpractice somehow in some capacity. That's the only way to send a message that this is not okay. We used to be able to trust our doctors, our lawyers, the police, first responders. We used to be able to trust all these people, and now we can't. You go in, you're having a bad day, your kids are driving you crazy, you don't know how you're going to pay the rent this month, you're stressed out, you go into the hospital because you have some anxiety and a panic attack. They lock you back and put you on three or four different mental health meds, and you're in a hospital for 2 weeks. Your kids are taken, you lose your home. This is happening all over this country. And it not only is it morally wrong, but it has to be illegal in some capacity, and I don't know how it's been happening like this. But clearly his own family is aware that the mental health drugs contributed to his death if they were not the main component that led to his death. His father goes on to say, Mark wanted help. He wanted somebody that would understand his pain and give him more than 5 minutes. His life was not in vain. This was his own personal sacrifice to save someone else. It's crazy. I wonder what drugs, what was his name, Mark Miller? Can y'all see that? Pickle relish. I need to throw it away. He was in the Navy for 15 years. And he sent a text message to his father, Dr. Larry Miller, just moments before he took it. Oh, his doctor. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So, Papa is a doctor himself. Probably a much older doctor than his son was dealing with. This new generations of doctors, they are pushed to market these drugs and to prescribe as many as possible. Them old doctors, they would have been like, you don't need that. Get outside and get some sunshine. Drink some water. Touch some grass. Hug a friend. You'll be fine. And the world was a better place because of that. Trying to figure, after retiring in 2007, Mark Miller struggled with his depression and anxiety. At one point, he developed a plan to die by suicide in Costa Rica. That plan was stopped by the help of numerous people, allowing Larry Miller to intervene, who was Mark's father, Larry the doctor. With support, Mark Miller began a long road to recovery, a journey chronicled by a book they co-authored together, Suicide Stalks the Sniper. Larry Miller says about his son's struggles, it's a tough battle. It's a lifelong battle. It's like an addiction that never goes away. And I really think that that's the best way to describe PTSD and CPTSD, because if there's ever a moment that you are in remission from CPTSD or PTSD, there's always a propensity to get re-triggered and re-traumatized, sending you back into a spiral event that will crash and burn your life. It is a lifelong battle to overcome this psychological damage that has been done to you. I'm at a point in my recovery, I can't even have contact with people. So it looks like the Miller family is calling, oh, listen to what Larry said. Larry said, can you believe what they've done? They're just like robots handing out pills, poisoning our people. He says he wants to dismantle the system of mental health, get people in there who are going to do the right thing. Yes, Larry, yes. Getting them out of the VA system into a private enterprise. Listen, Larry is a doctor himself. Larry ain't about this bullshit. Larry sees exactly what's happening now and what happened to his son and his family. And I told you guys this has been going on. Medical malpractice in the mental health services field is so common. So common. Like, I'd be willing to bet half of patients are either misdiagnosed and or prescribed mental health drugs that they do not need. I would say about half, in my opinion. Half. That means half the fucking country. 30 years they've been doing this. 30 years. I was the guinea pig. At 6 years old, I was the guinea pig for Big Farm. I remember my mom hiding my pills in applesauce and force feeding me like I didn't see the pills in there. Started with me. What year would have that would have been 93. 93, they started medications on me. Everything you can think of. Shit that you can't even prescribe children now, like Depakote. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm just glad that I'm at a point in my recovery where I'm aware that this is detrimental more than it is positive. There are certain people that absolutely need medications. Schizophrenics, bipolar disorder, manic depressives. There's certain people that absolutely might need medications. But for CPTSD and PTSD, if that is the sole diagnosis, no. What are we doing? You can't heal trauma by being re-victimized at the same fucking time. And when you're on those meds, you're being re-victimized psychologically through the medication. Your body is going through so many changes. Your mind is going through so many changes. And here's the kicker. Here's the fucking kicker. They don't even leave patients on these meds long enough to even see if they actually work. Sometimes it can take months for a patient to show positive outcomes from the medication. But the doctor will just switch it up in a few weeks. I've witnessed this personally in youths and in adults. The youth part is really fucking scary. It's crazy that you take your child to a doctor for anxiety and depression nowadays, and the doctor starts a 14-year-old child on a medication, and then 3 weeks later changes that medication to a different medication. And the whole time, the reason that the child is actually suffering from anxiety and depression is because of social media. How do I not have any experience in clinical psychology, but I get that? I'm aware of why children are suffering. And this was a specific case I'm talking about of somebody that I personally knew. This child's medication kept changing more than the school semesters. Every time I turned around, this child was on a different form of the medication. At 14, when they were suffering from anxiety and depression. And it was coming from the cell phone. 100%. Because when the cell phone was taken away, guess what went away? Anxiety and depression. So y'all try all these medications on this baby. Then you tell the father a year after the therapy starts and the medication starts. Then you say, well, let's try to take the phone away at night and see if that helps them sleep better. Because the kid was up looking at the phone all night. It's not rocket science. It's pretty basic shit. I just don't understand why the world is this way, but I do. Money. Money. Money, honey. Hey, Lewis. Good morning. Money. You know, and bipolar disorder, let me see here. So it looks like bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder can both be treated without medication. I wonder for how many decades they were before Big Pharma stepped in and started pushing pills. Because I feel like bipolar disorder is really what made mental health meds bubble to the surface. It got really bad, I would say, in the early 2000s, the pills. The 90s. Probably around the time that I was a guinea pig for Chapel Hill. 93. And then, you know, over the past 30 years, I've seen them just, it's like a snowball effect. Every time you go somewhere, they're trying to give people medicine for shit they don't need. And then they need another pill for something else because the first shit they took caused them to have side effects. And now they need another pill. It's like they do it intentionally. I'm telling y'all, they do. So the best two outcomes for bipolar disorder and borderline personality disorder is actually talk therapy. Psychotherapy. Talk therapy. Vitamin C, ashwagandha, and foods with omega fatty acids, magnesium, vitamin D. Wow. Is that not interesting that all of the things that we used to treat bipolar disorder with and borderline personality disorder with, they were all natural remedies? Interesting. A 2018 study by researchers at St. Mary's College in Calgary concluded the higher vitamin D levels are clearly associated with improved depression and anxiety. Everybody's out here living on fast food junk and shit, and their mental health are in the tank, okay? It's in the shitter. People are not even getting the vitamins and minerals that they need to sustain focus, clarity, common sense, rationale. I wish chocolate, stress management skills. This is great shit, okay? This is what we did for the first few hundred years of medicine in this country, and things were on an upwards trajectory, okay? And then Big Pharma stepped in, and now everybody's suffering. Everybody's eating fast food and living like a sack of shit, and their depression is in the tank. This is why. This is why. That's crazy. So the number one recommended thing for bipolar disorder and BPD is going to be therapy. Just like CPTSD, just like PTSD. I'm telling y'all, people get fixated on being mentally sick and they make their whole fucking personality about it. They're like, oh, I'm bipolar, I can't do that. I'm bipolar, I can't do that. I am literally out here on a day-to-day basis getting fucking triggered. Get over it. You'll be fine. It's ridiculous. People have gotten soft. Very soft. And Big Pharma steps in and say, oh, these drugs will make you feel better. And people fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And this is why the problem's gotten worse, in my opinion. I mean, food, it's a combination of food, the mental health drugs, the economy has people, and that's another thing. People are going in droves talking about how they're suffering from depression and anxiety. You're suffering from depression and anxiety because you're working your life away. You're giving all your fucking money to Uncle Sam. You can't afford to feed your kids. You can't afford to go on vacation. Your life sucks. It's like common sense ain't that common anymore. We're all fucking depressed. We're all riddled with anxiety. We're all stressed about if we're going to go into a fucking recession or get hit by fucking bombs. Do you think mental health professionals tell people that when they come into the office? No. They say, here's some drugs. This will make it go away. Mental health professionals should be coming at this, looking at the economy, looking at the circumstances of the world. Every patient that comes in, you have to look at what they're going through. They don't do that anymore. They don't care. They just want to get you strung out on drugs and make money off of you. And I'm so glad that I did not take the Xanax, because I probably would have done murdered somebody by now if I took the medicine that was prescribed to me through UNC Chapel Hill, which, by the way, is one of the best hospitals in the country. Country. One of the best hospitals in the country. It's crazy. My phone's dying. It's just so sad because I can't believe he did that right outside the damn gate of the VA. It's just shocking. It is. And it's damn, it's heartbreaking. Because it sounds like if he wrote a book about suicide prevention or suicide, his struggles with suicide, it just sounds like he was trying to help others. And it's just, that's the second veteran that I've heard about in like 2 months. There was a female veteran activist that would help other veterans with their mental health. She committed suicide. And now this guy, who was also an activist, talking about his personal struggles with mental health problems. It's really crazy. You know what it is? Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. When you dedicate your life to writing a book and doing activism in your community to prevent other soldiers from committing suicide, and those soldiers keep committing suicide, and then the military is not opening up their fucking eyes, and then you got the VA shoving pills down their throat. In my opinion, it's a Ted Kaczynski moment. Nobody's listening. I got to do something so that they wake up. And that's a sad place to be. That's a sad place to be. I'm sure at some point you're fueled by your fucking anger and disgust for society. I mean, that's why Ted Kaczynski damn bombed people. You know, they weren't listening. And you know, pretty much everything that man ever predicted has come true in this country. What would have happened if that manifesto would have actually been a thesis paper that led to him changing the course of technology? Imagine how different the world could be right now. We wouldn't be sitting here. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you for the rubies. We wouldn't be sitting here. But, you know, they didn't want to listen to Ted when he warned his professors in the school and everybody he could talk to about it, when he warned people about the dangers of technology. They didn't want to listen. They were money hungry. They wanted to make money. Thank you so much, Trisha. Hey, Phoenix. Good morning. Yo, I don't know what I'm going to do today. I don't know what to do. I've got to work tonight. And I'm up. And I can't go to sleep. Let's talk about that. So, complex post-traumatic stress disorder is strongly linked to insomnia and other sleep disturbances. Individuals with CPTSD often experiences difficulties falling asleep, staying asleep, and waking up too early. And once you get woke up, you're up. So if you get woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're up till the next night. This is often due to hyperarousal, distress and memories, and the lingering effects of trauma on the sleep-wake cycle. CPTSD can lead to a heightened fight. Y'all, my sugar is fucking low. CPTSD can lead to a heightened flight or fight response, which can make it difficult to relax and fall asleep. Traumatic memories can disrupt the sleep, leading to nightmares, flashbacks, and difficulty falling back asleep after waking. The constant stress and emotional dysregulation associated with CPTSD can interfere with the normal regulation of sleep. Now, I've been going through this for years, and we just figured out not too long ago, 18 months ago, that the insomnia was coming from my CPTSD. That's one of the things that helped get me re-diagnosed. I was actually first diagnosed with CPTSD when I was 8 years old. The second time I was like 12, another time like 15. I've been diagnosed with PTSD several times in my life, all from different traumatic events. My first CPTSD diagnosis came a few years back when I got sober and started with my new therapist. So they didn't link the insomnia. I was tested for bipolar disorder. I thought that I was bipolar or something, and I'm not bipolar. It's insomnia from CPTSD. They thought that I was having manic episodes, but I was not. It was from the trauma and getting re-victimized that they were able to link it back to my CPTSD, because I did not have bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder. And you know, it's crazy that I was diagnosed from like 5 or 6 different traumatic events as a child, and then went through 5 or 6 other events as an adult. It's just crazy. It's actually a fucking miracle. It's a miracle that I'm even slightly sane. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'd be curious to know how many other people have that many diagnoses. I really want to meet people that have been through what I've been through. I mean, I was literally re-victimized like every year, multiple times a year as a child, through different foster homes, group homes, my own parents' homes, my stepdad's home, my dad's home, my real dad's home. I mean, it's just crazy looking back. It's like, I think they were trying to kill me. I think they were trying to drive me insane. I think that they wanted the worst possible outcome, because I don't understand how doctors, nurses, social workers allowed all of this shit to go on. And I just think that it's the way that the system is. I think that most kids that go through the foster care system and what I've been through, I think they experience the same shit, and it's just not talked about. There's this fucking illusion that these kids are adopted and taken care of, and that is not how it is. So right here it says, in some cases, medication can be prescribed to help with sleep disturbances, such as sleeping pills or medications that address underlying anxiety and depression. Here's the problem with that. Those sleep medications are addictive. And the moment that you don't have it, or you run out, or the doctor shorted your script, then you're fucked, and it can cause a whole fucking episode of panic and hell in the household. Almost everyone who has PTSD also has trouble sleeping. Both insomnia and nightmares are PTSD symptoms. When cortisol rises around 3 a.m., their metaphorical cups overflow, waking them up and adding to their nighttime distress. Holy shit. I always wake up at that time. Is that not crazy? So it's because my cortisol spikes in my sleep, which is a stress hormone. What does a CPTSD episode look like? Many have unmanaged or persistent sadness, either explosive or inaccessible anger, and or suicidal thoughts. They may be chronically numb, lack the appropriate effect in certain situations, be unable to triage sudden changes in emotional content, and a struggle to level out after a great high or low. So what I'm in right now is considered trauma-focused therapy. That's what I've been in. So we've been processing trauma little by little. We started with my first sexual assault at 6. Then we moved on to my next sexual assault at like 10. Then we moved on to my next sexual assault at like 15. Then my next one at 16. Then we moved on to my mother's death. And we've been stuck there for 6 months. So I guess we'll move on to the next thing. We can finally get out of the teen years and start on my 20s. How sad. And there was a lot more. You know, my grandfather committed suicide the year after I started getting molested. It was just, it was a rocky, you know, and then everybody's drinking and doing drugs too, on my dad's side, you know. That's why my grandfather committed suicide, was because he was an alcoholic. So Papa Alani, he was a good man. He was like the epitome of like a trailer park. I don't know. He had like all these gold chains, and he was all tan, and you know, he was just a big burly man. Oh, dolphins. But you know, depression and stress and drinking got to him. So it's a lot. You know, it's kind of crazy. You got to start at the beginning, and then it's good to process things and talk about things and grieve over things. And it's crazy because when you start talking about these things, me and Stephanie will talk 1 week, and then 2 weeks we'll come back later, or sometimes 3 weeks, and I'll feel completely different about the situation. Like, I might start off being angry or full of remorse, but 3 weeks later after talking about it, I'm actually more content with how the situation went down, or I'm not sad anymore about it. You know, it's that's what it's for. Because sometimes you have to go through like the 7 stages of emotions to actually process that. Most people just think about something, they're like, oh, I don't know, oh, my dad beat me when I was a kid, that was fucked up, and that's the end of story. That is not processing and healing from something. Accepting it, or being like, oh, you know, just accepting it like that is not how you heal from something. You have to talk about it. You have to be real about it and rational. No kid should have to go through witnessing their parents struggle with drugs or alcohol. And no parent should be putting their hands on their kid. I don't know. I just think that therapy is a great thing, and I think that therapy is the answer, and I also think that a good clinical psychologist and therapist and psychiatrist is really hard to find nowadays, because they're all after money. You know, going through free services, getting free therapy, you can do that in pretty much every state. There's free mental health services in almost every state. It's state-operated mental health services. If you go through their programs, they're not going to be trying to shove pills down your throat, because they know you ain't got the money for it. So they're going to be offering you therapy and the right outlets to help yourself. You got to feel it to heal it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you can't do that at the same time where you know, if you're dealing with your girlfriend whooping your ass and destroying your house, you know what I mean? You can't be in active therapy, trauma therapy or whatever, and still be getting re-victimized. Like, if you're in an abusive relationship at home, but you're going to therapy to heal from trauma, but you're getting more trauma at home, it's going to mess up the rhythm of your healing. You have to be in a safe space, in a stable environment where you're not getting re-traumatized in order to even start the healing process. Most people are living in traumatic environments, and they don't even realize it. I see people's marriages. I know the stats on the divorce rate. Healthy relationships don't fail, okay? So it's a lot of people out here that are carrying around a lot of trauma, looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for other people to fill the void inside of them. And you'll never have a successful relationship anyways until you love yourself. You have to love yourself. If you're looking for love from somebody else, it'll never work. 100%. The only way you will ever be able to have a healthy relationship is by cultivating your soul, staying single, focus on you, healing from trauma, and becoming the best version of yourself that you can. And then, maybe 5 years after that, you can think about love. And that's only going to work if he's been doing the same work that you've been doing. It's only going to work as long as he's been doing the same shit you've been doing. If he comes into that relationship with tons of emotional baggage and trauma, the relationship's going to fail because there's no foundation. He was not healthy to start with. And you trying to save him is going to cause you all kinds of problems. Now you both broke up, divorced, and you're leaving out with trauma that you didn't even come in with from him. He done traumatized your life. This is why people's relationships are not healthy. This is why marriages are failing. And people don't realize this. And it's kind of crazy because you would think that mental health professionals would be front and center saying, you need to do this, you need to focus on this, you need to cultivate your inside before you need to be dating. But they don't. They just let their patients do whatever. They're hoping that their patient's relationship fails because they're hoping the patient comes back for more mental health drugs and or therapy, so they spend more money. Sally, I know that's right. So anyways, everybody should do therapy, even if you don't need it. You should absolutely do therapy just once or twice in your life, even if you don't need it. It's just good to talk to somebody and figure out where you're at psychologically. You would be surprised at how many people go into therapy to find out that they actually need it. Most of us need it. Most of us did not grow up in a stable, normal environment. The world has been a fucked up place since day one, and it'll continue to be a fucked up place. It's actually going to get worse. I don't make the rules. It's in Revelations. Thank you, Trisha, for the rubies. Floating hot. Yeah, I think that, I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get much worse. I wonder how, I mean, it's pretty bad for a soldier to go out there and do what he did in front of everybody. It's just heartbreaking. And he was at that age, too, of like midlife crisis, 54. That's usually around the age we start, well, actually, late 40s to mid 50s. Men, they go through a midlife crisis. Women, too. They'll start whole flings. They'll get a sugar baby. They'll fly to Aruba and start a new business. Or they'll commit suicide. It's sad. It just makes me mad that the media didn't report on it. I don't want to wake up. I want to go to bed. So I found this survey online that was crazy last night. Listen to this. So this is from some creator on YouTube. I don't want to put them on blast, but I do want to talk about, they did a poll, an online poll. Oh God. They did an online poll and it said, be honest. Do you make decisions based on your feelings or facts? Do you know that 40% of people out of 30,000 votes said that they make decisions based on their emotions? Do you make decisions based on facts, or do you make decisions based on feelings? 40% said they do it based on feelings. Well, I figured out why the world is all fucked up. 40% said they make decisions based on their feelings, not on facts. It's starting to make sense. All of this bullshit is starting to make sense. The Carmelo Anthony trial, starting to make sense. The white woman saying the N-word, starting to make sense. 40% out of 30,000. How many thousands of people do I need to stay the fuck away from? That's crazy. I mean, it explains a lot. That means that they don't know the difference between right or wrong. That's exactly what that means. That means that they do not have the concept of right or wrong. And a lack of conscience. They don't care about the facts. They're not going to be rational. They're going to do what makes them feel good. When I say that the majority are bad apples, I literally mean it. This is how I mean it. To not operate on moral terms ethically, and to operate under your own self-motivated interest by your feelings, You clearly don't have a conscience. That makes you a highly dangerous person. And this is why we see people out here giving money to the Carmelo Anthony family. They're doing it based on a feeling, not on facts. We've seen that. They believe in fake facts, misinformation, disinformation. When I clicked on that, because of course I put facts, when I clicked on that, I was just, I couldn't believe it. But it makes perfect sense why this world is the way that it is now. People operate on their own they operate under their own selfish wants and needs. They do not operate under right and wrong, the laws of God, the laws of earth, okay? First of all, we have law and order here. Thank God we do, because if we didn't, the world would be a lot scarier place. But God's word is actually law. So if you're a Christian, then you know that God's word is law. What he says in that book is what we should be implementing in our lives. But to be motivated by your own selfish wants and needs and operate on your feelings means that you don't have anyone higher than yourself, and you don't even care that you don't have a conscience. That's some scary shit. So I said over half the population. It's only 40%, okay? And that was just from 30,000 people, though. Imagine how many more soulless, self-motivated, selfish people there are out there. To not operate and base your decisions in life based on facts, and you just go off of your feelings, you're going to have a very lonely, sad life. A worthless life. Your life is worthless. Because life is not about self. It's crazy. Weird. So I saw this dipshit on social media. It's a guy running down the street, and he's mad. He runs up to this stop sign, and he's mad that this girl, she's got her glasses on, she's got her AirPods in, and she's looking at her phone. And this guy has actually already went viral before for the same little stunt. He got mad that he tried to walk up to a girl in public and talk to her, and the girl was ignoring him. First of all, he obviously operates with his feelings and not facts. That woman doesn't owe you anything. Nothing. Zip zero. Something that I found interesting was the comment section. There was a girl that said, a female YouTuber made a video about this guy too. She mentioned that some time ago, a friend of hers was unalived while walking by a man she just crossed paths with in the middle of the day. So the whole controversy is men are mad that this woman was glued to her phone, ignoring this cute guy. And women are coming at this from a point like, yes, we do that because we don't know if he's a fucking axe murderer. First of all, who died and gave you the audacity to think that you have any right to demand that some stranger that you don't know has to talk to you? If you're lonely, it's not some stranger's responsibility to make you not feel lonely. That's a personal thing. You need to cultivate your soul, honey, and then you'll be able to talk to women. Women will want to talk to you. That girl was out for a jog, just like the man was. They come to the same intersection. He's trying to engage in conversation with her, and she has her glasses on with her phone in her. And he then proceeds to film a video saying, what is going on with modern women? They won't talk to me. Me. First of all, your ego is hurt because you felt like she should have just dropped her drawers at the intersection. So since she didn't just drop them panties on the sidewalk, now you pissed. Tell me you got an ego problem without telling me you got an ego problem, first of all. Second of all, that woman is a stranger to you. Why are you so desperate for stranger human connection? Tell me you live a life of privilege where you don't have to worry about being strangled by a stranger, your body being torn off the damn path and killed. So, sorry, there's some badass shit going on out here. So then this woman jumps in the comment section and says that some YouTuber out here, look at the plane. Where's it at? There it is. What are they doing? Some YouTuber says that one of her friends was actually murdered on a jogging path. I wonder what they're doing. I'm so nosy. Here, let's hop out. That's the Coast Guard. I wonder if I'll get in trouble for filming them. I can get closer. Hold on. Jesus, look at the water coming up from the wind, from the propeller turbine or whatever it is. What is that, a wing? What are they doing? Oh, he was getting water. They're lifting water. Oh, God, y'all. I wonder if there's a wildfire. There probably is. It's hot as fuck. It ain't rained here for 3 damn weeks. They probably got a fire going. They're scooping water out the ravine so that they can dump it somewhere. Damn. I hope it ain't another fire. I know. You see that water, like, splashing up? That's crazy. They're scooping it. Oh, here comes 2 more boats. So there's 3 of them. Yeah, you know, Sally, unfortunately, this past week there was a man that was sexually assaulted by another man. The fucking men ain't even safe anymore from these perverts. A grown-ass man sexually assaulted another man. Maybe if this bearded, lonely man had to encounter one of these perverts out here trying to kiss him, maybe he'd feel differently about the situation. When we are out here working out, we are on guard. Females, us girls, we are paying attention. And when we come in contact with strangers, we act busy because we don't want them to try to talk to us. They don't have any right. We don't talk to strangers. I understand that the world of social media has gotten people too comfortable with meeting strangers off the fucking internet. Now they want to meet them in person too. But nobody owes you shit. No woman, no man owes you shit. It's crazy. I like this dress, but it's a little big now that I'm losing weight. It's just crazy for that boy to have the audacity and be mad at the girl. He's like, this is the world now. Nobody wants to talk and socialize. If you're that desperate and lonely, that means that you need to cultivate your soul. And the fact that he wants to put this poor girl who was out for a morning jog on blast tells me that he's a complete egomaniac anyways. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I've met people like that. I've told you guys that. The guy that I cussed out at the boat dock. He just felt so entitled to talk to me. It's crazy. So that lady said that some YouTuber made a video about the same guy, and in the video she said that her friend was unalived while going for a walk by a man that she had crossed paths with in the middle of the day. After that, the YouTuber stopped running outside, and now she has a running pad in her house. The world is becoming so dangerous that people either A, have to go to a gym or run in their house because it's not safe for women to run on the streets anymore in some areas. There are many reasons why women do not want to be approached by a man during many activities, and men just don't get it. If a woman or girl covers her eyes, she doesn't want you to look at her. If she covers her ears, she doesn't want to talk to you. She doesn't want you to talk to her. If she hardcore pretends like you aren't there, that's because she hardcore wishes that you would do the same. Not be there. Also, that dude made a follow-up video and had a lot to say, but mostly now he's retracting his original statement, saying that it was all sarcasm and he wasn't actually mad at the woman for not speaking to him. Sir, tell me you are a child that don't need to be dating. See, he gonna go up to one girl one day. Thank you so much, Trisha. He gonna go up to one girl one day. And they gonna link up. And she not gonna realize he's crazy. She ain't gonna realize how he views women. And there's a toxic relationship snowballing into a toxic situation. Yeah, he doesn't need to be dating. He needs to first go back to school and learn how to respect women. Then he needs to go back to school and learn that nobody owes him shit. Then he needs to go back to school and learn how to stay off of social media with his misogynistic bullshit. It's crazy. You know, then he needs to go learn some empathy. It's like he's so sheltered that he doesn't realize that young women are literally being kidnapped and killed off the street every day. And he just thinks he's so good looking, he should just be able to walk up with that ugly ass mustache and anybody should want him. Boy, if you don't sit the fuck down, your 20-something-year-old ass, I don't even need to know how old he is. I already know. That's how boys act, not men. That's why we date 45 and above. And some of them still just as bad, so you never know who you're going to get. Life's like a box of chocolates. Is he a serial killer or the love of your life? So exciting. So exciting. No, but for real, the audacity. So there was this woman that went missing 60 years ago, y'all. Let's see if I can show this. I'm to the point where I'm going to be going to CVS every morning to print off pictures so I can show flashcards. So this woman went missing 60 years ago. She was found alive a few weeks ago. May 5th. Yeah, 2 days ago. A few weeks ago. Oh, God. A woman who vanished more than 6 decades ago in Wisconsin has been found, and as it turns out, she didn't want to be found. Listen. So I ran away when I was 16, and yeah, I ran away because I was 16 because of in-home sexual abuse. So her name is Audrey Jean Backberg. She's 82 now. It's my belief that she probably went missing for the same reasons and chose to build a whole nother life for herself elsewhere outside of her original family. When she was asked why she left, what did she say? Y'all, it'll be at the bottom of the article. Let's just read this. So she went missing in July of 1962. Now, Reedsburg is a small town about 60 miles northwest of Madison, Wisconsin. At the time, she was only 20 years old. Another person claimed that she and Backberg hitched to the state capitol where they took a Greyhound bus to Indianapolis, Indiana. Backberg walked around the corner away from the bus stop, and the person told authorities that she hadn't been seen or heard from since. That's a damn good friend right there. My cousin did that for me. She picked me up from work and let me stay with her for like the first week that I was a runaway, and then the cops started showing up. Y'all, I remember hiding under mattresses and shit. It was crazy. The cops are banging on the front of the apartment. I'm a runaway. The cops are like, "We know she's in there." Oh, it was wild. My cousin was a real one for that, for real. She got me out of that situation. I'll give her that. So it looks like Backberg's friend did the same shit. She said, "I don't know. We hitchhiked to the Capitol. We got to the Capitol. She walked around a corner to the bus stop, and I never saw her again." I love it. I love it. So earlier this year, the sheriff's office put a detective on the case for a fresh set of eyes as part of an ongoing review of cold case files. And they went into this probably thinking that she was dead. So paper by paper, Detective Isaac took another look at evidence, re-interviewing witnesses, and he uncovered new insights. Thanks to the Ancestry.com account that belonged to Backberg's sister, Hansen was able to review death records, census reports, and all kinds of data. Ultimately, the detective found an out-of-state address and asked the local sheriff's office to pay a visit to it. They obliged, and shortly after the visit, Henson found himself on the phone with Backberg for 45 minutes having a conversation he promised to keep to having private. So the detective told the news outlet that pretty much all the lady would say was that she, quote, had her reasons for leaving. The detective goes on to say that he thinks that she was just removed and, moved on from the things and kind of did her own thing and led her own life. The detective said that she sounded so happy and confident in her decision with no regrets. Good for you, woman. Good for you. She had her reasons for leaving. And I just want to be clear, sexual abuse in the home was so prevalent back then. Y'all just don't understand how sick this society is. I don't know. Was her mother abusive? Was her father abusive? Somebody clearly done something to her. You just don't go missing for damn 60 years and not tell nobody where you are. Like, I was going to go back home after I turned 18. I was going to be like, hey, I'm still alive. See, I got a job. I'm in school, blah, 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 blah. Because that's what I was doing when I ran away from home. So, who runs away from home to go get a job? Sure did. So I was planning to get back in touch with my family once I turned 18. So I was just trying to stay gone for 2 years so that I didn't have to be subjected to sexual torture in my fucking home while my mother ignored it. Because she knew. She was informed. But, love. I guess that means that you're just supposed to forget about your kids. But love, take your piece of shit husband's side over your children. I don't know if I could ever do that. I think that if I caught somebody messing with one of my kids, I'd fucking kill them. And I know. So, but my mother, it is my belief that she was a victim of my stepfather's. He absolutely mentally manipulated her. And he was a thorn in the family side. It's really sad that she didn't have a good picker. But I think that that's ignorance from generation after generation of picking bad men. They didn't know any better. If you don't know, you're just ignorant to the fact of what healthy is until you're taught what healthy is. So if you don't know if you're not exposed to that, then you're living in an unhealthy relationship. So, yeah. You can't cultivate a healthy relationship without learning what a healthy relationship is. That takes time cultivating oneself. That's what, I don't know a better way to describe what I'm trying to say, but y'all know what I mean. I gotta use the bathroom. I always have to use the bathroom. I need to change clothes too. Did y'all see where Pam Bundy got all those drugs yesterday? It was a methamphetamine. It was the largest drug seizure in our nation's history. I will say she did a good job on that. She said she was going to do that for Florida, but she never did. So I was actually surprised when I saw that she had actually done this drug seizure, because they caught over 3 million fentanyl pills. They also retrieved fentanyl, the largest seizure of fentanyl ever, and methamphetamines, guns. This operation was being ran by somewhere between 6 and a dozen illegal immigrants. They had places in Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, if I'm not wrong. Listen, I can't remember shit. But pretty much it was a criminal organization that was bringing these drugs in, and it's the largest seizure in our nation's history. It's so crazy. They didn't have but they ain't been in office but 4 months, and they got more done in 4 months than the Biden administration did in 4 years. There's no debating that. That's a fact. So good for Miss Pam Bondi. I think now that I'm seeing her in action, I think that she is just, listen, she's the type of woman that would die on a hill for Trump. And I mean, I appreciate that. He's our president. But that does not make her a good person. That would actually make her a bad person. Because, listen, to be manipulated by a man or a woman on earth and controlled by them and willing to do whatever to keep them in a position of power, that's the same manipulative game that the left has played. Still don't like her, but good for Pam. Thank you, Pam, for getting the drugs off the street. Still don't like her. Y'all know I love Tulsi and damn, what's the other one? I love the one from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is that her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene? The girl from Arkansas. It's just the fact that she covered for Trump shows me that she has criminal intent, that she has capabilities of being a criminal. That's all I'm saying. I think they all do it though. The right swipe, the right wipes the right's ass and the left wipes the left's ass. I get it. It don't make it right though. I'm so glad Joe's gone. Somebody smoked a cigarette in here because they're fucking rude. Who goes in these bathrooms and smokes? Dumbasses. What could the Coast Guard be using that water for? Anybody know? I don't. Not unless it's a wildfire. God, it's so hot already. I have to run the truck. This is what I'm saying. Working, it's going to cost me more gas because I'm not going to be outside working out. So I have a whole new expense with this job. This is my problem last time that I worked here in Florida. Like, so when I wake up in the mornings, I usually go to the park. I'll be at the gym. I'm either in the gym or at the park. So I'm not running the car. But if I'm working from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m., then I'm going to be sleeping from like 4 or 5 a.m. until maybe 11 or 12 and having to run the car because it's already 80 degrees, which means that it would be 95 in here. It's always going to be 10 to 15 degrees hotter inside of the vehicle. You know what I mean? Like it changes the entire, it changes my schedule from 7 p.m. I usually go to bed at 8 or 9 and I'm back up at 5 or 6. It changes my schedule. Do you see what I'm saying? And then I don't know how much that's going to run me. I don't know how much that's going to run me. Part of the reason that I quit my last job was because I was solely making enough money to afford to sleep during the day in the AC. I was only making $250 a week at my last job, working 5 days a week. That $250 was just enough money to run the gas so that I could sleep for work the next day. Then my AC broke. So I had to quit. I mean, it was impossible. Making $250 a week, that's $1,000 a month. I don't know if that's even going to cover the gas to get over there. It's a 40-minute drive there and a 40-minute drive home every day. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to, you know, describe things. It's not cheap to work nowadays at all. Especially when you're living out of a car and you're on third shift or second shift and your hours. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know. Find some clothes to change into. I guess I'm gonna work out. I'm not gonna just sit here and run my fucking AC and hope that I fall back asleep because I won't be able to. I don't even feel right being up. I mean, I don't even feel normal unless I wake up at 5 a.m. It'll be fine. I'll do the best with what I got. That's all I can do, you know. It is what it fucking is. Try to put this bra on, but if it hurts, then I'm gonna have to take it off because I can't do that shit. Where is... Oh, what if I just keep this bathing suit top on with those shorts? That's what I'll do. Alright. What is going on right now? Sometimes I just be feeling like people are trolling. God, Lee. What is talking? Hello. I'm trying to put these shorts on. Hey Siri. Hey Siri. You ain't worth a shit. All that money for that heifer. Dirty bitch. She's like a bad boyfriend. It's like a Tinder profile. Great communicator, great listener. Knows how to do neither. Y'all ever notice that back in the day? I haven't been on an online dating site in probably 10 years, but back in the day, people always snitched on themselves. They'd be like, I'm a great listener. I know how to communicate. I believe in being faithful. They were telling you he's going to cheat on you, he won't know how to listen, and he can't communicate at all. Everything that's in their profile is it's the opposite of what they're saying. Pay attention. Pay attention. Give it a go and see if I ain't right. Give it a go. So funny. Let's see. I was going to ask. The U.S. Coast Guard may be scooping up water in Jacksonville for several reasons, including safety measures during events like the Naval Air Show, aerial firefighting support. Firefighting support. All right, hold on. Where's the wildfire in Jacksonville? This shit's giving me a fucking migraine. The dangers were heightened less than a week ago when a brush fire ignited Saturday afternoon in St. Johns County, west of St. Augustine. The fire came alarmingly close to home, serving as a stark reminder of the importance of properly preparing for wildfire threats. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm not seeing anything currently, but if it was, they ain't gonna tell us anyways because we saw what happened in Key Largo. How many days did it take them to start the evacuation process? 2. I was literally telling people the island's on fire because the media wasn't. Do you know how concerning that is? That is their job. I just want to be clear so everybody knows. That is the fucking government's job. To keep us safe. To tell us when shit's on fire. When a hurricane's headed our way. The island was on fire. And the road was shut down and nobody could get out. And US 1 opened and shut down for a week straight. You never knew when you could get out or get in. no supplies, no rescue boats, no way off an island. So it's not, we learned from that we have to do our own research, because they're not going to tell us if the whole fucking island's going up in fire. 2 days it took before they started reporting on that. Do you know what could happen in 48 hours? Everybody could have died in 48 hours. Real talk. Real talk. And they didn't even tell anybody. I remember when they started reporting it on CNN, they weren't even telling the truth behind it. They weren't even showcasing the 8 to 12 hours of stop and go traffic. You'd go 2 car lengths and then you'd stop for 10 minutes. And then you go 2 car lengths and you'd stop for an hour and a half. Then you'd go 2 car lengths, you'd stop for another 2 hours. Then you go 2 car lengths and stop for 10 minutes. Then you go 2 car lengths and stop for 30 minutes. It was crazy. I did that for 8 hours. It took me 8 hours to get down a 10-mile stretch of road. 10 miles, 8 hours. It's extremely dangerous in the Keys. Not to mention they don't have the manpower to handle these types of fires when they pop off. They don't. They have less than 20 firefighters in Key Largo. And I think Key West is even worse. I think they have less. We were looking into it. There's like videos on it. I can't remember. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here. Oh, that was in April. No. Y'all. I don't see it. I don't know. They might just be doing training operations or whatever. I was just trying to make sure there was no fire near me, because God knows. What? American tourist climbs over a fence at a Coliseum and he impales himself on a stake. An American tourist visiting the Coliseum in Rome took a left turn for the terrifying after the man impaled. Y'all, they don't even know how to write anymore. An American tourist visit to the Coliseum in Rome took a turn for the terrifying after the man impaled himself on a fence. That's what it says. That's exactly how it reads. And was left dangling and screaming in pain. I'm laughing because play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The gruesome incident took place around 5 p.m. on Friday. The 47-year-old American attempted to climb over a fence, presumably to get a closer look at the historic Roman amphitheater. The man fell and was skewered. Why you gotta use that word? He's not a shit. He's not a fucking kebab. They did. Skewered. That's what it says. By the sharp metal bars of the fence. You couldn't have said he was impaled. Skewered? I think we're dealing with a journalist that used to be a culinary chef or something. Skewered by sharp metal bars of the fence. He began screaming and bleeding profusely until he became unconscious. An ambulance rushed to the scene and medics found that the man had suffered a severe injury to his lower back that was preventing him from moving. They administered a sedative before carefully detaching him. Y'all, this is wild. I'm sorry I'm laughing. I'm such a child. The way whoever wrote this, it's their fault. Carefully detaching him and applying a tight bandage to the I don't think that bandage is gonna work, homie. Oh my God, don't get hurt in a foreign country. Don't skewer yourself in a foreign country. They'll have to detach you and apply a tight bandage to your skewered wound. I'm laughing because whoever wrote this, and then it sounds like they are not medically prepared for this type of injury if they're just sticking a Band-Aid on it. If they're just sticking a Band-Aid on it, they were not prepared. They wasn't ready, okay? They come in with a freaking box of gauze and some Band-Aids, homie. They weren't prepared. I'm sorry. It took around 20 minutes. Whoever fucking wrote this needs to be in jail. You are fired. It took 20 minutes to detach him and stabilize the tourist. He was taken to the local hospital in critical condition. He underwent emergency surgery. Thank God at the hospital they have better than a Band-Aid, and received 80 stitches. 80? You try to put a Band-Aid on that? 80 stitches. It was terrible, a tourist told the... I'm just imagining being one of the tourists that had to see this. Could you imagine you're out there with your youngins, you feeding your kids ice cream, your husband's taking pictures of y'all, and all of a sudden, some bastard flies out of the sky, impales himself, and the EMS shows up with a box of gauze and a Band-Aid. Them poor tourists that had to wait. That's who I really feel bad for, because he put himself in this situation. You heard what it said. He was climbing over a barrier. How many of these fools, God rest his soul, I hope he went to heaven. At least he died in Rome, right? Great place to die. Oh, how many fools have we seen at the county zoos or the county fairs? They'll be climbing on rides that they know they shouldn't be climbing on, or climbing out of them. Or they'll climb over divisions, walls that have been built to protect animals at the zoo. And I've seen children. How does a 2-year-old fall into an enclosure like that? Gorilla swinging a baby around. This is real shit. You can find the video on YouTube. It's terrifying. And I blame the parents when these children fall over the enclosures. And I blame the adults when the adults fall over the enclosures. Because more often than not, they were doing something that they were not supposed to be doing, which led to their death and or being surrounded by gorillas. More often than not, the majority of the time, it's because somebody was doing something they shouldn't have been doing. And it's not funny he died, but the way that this was wrote, it's too much. It's too early. I mean, they said detach. They had to detach him from the fence. They probably had to cut the fence and pull that part of the fence out that was attached to his leg or body or wherever he was impaled. And then they probably had to surgically remove that later at the hospital. Now, I'm no first responder, but it's not like they can just, I mean, they have to take the fence. What are they going to do? Cut his leg off? Like, they have to, at least a small part of the fence has got to go with whatever was impaled. Do you see what? Listen, I might be wrong, but that's how I envision it with my basic limited physics. Basic limited physics. So a tourist, it was terrible. I saw the man impaled. See, she knows how to use the proper word, impaled on the railing, and he couldn't free himself. That's actually terrifying. And you know people don't give a shit nowadays, so it wasn't like nobody was running to help him. They're like, oh, he's a man, he'll be fine. Hope a bear comes along to save him. As he's bleeding out. You know how heartless people are? Poor fella. I wonder how old he was. Probably 20-something. Sorry. Let's see here. The man's identity has not been released. He's a resident of Taiwan. He is reported to also be, but he was y'all said at the beginning of this, he was a fucking American citizen. You said American tourist climbs over the fence at Coliseum and impales himself on a spike. So it looks like he's also a resident of Taiwan. Taiwan? The man was unable to speak for several hours, but was questioned by Italian law enforcement. So he is literally strapped to a fence, and y'all down on the ground. So, sir, can you tell me how you got in this condition? I'm sorry, I'm going to hell this morning, I know, but, I mean, you look like you're in need of police intervention. Like, what the hell? I mean, because you're going to have to get on his level. God, it's the respectful thing to do. So they interrogated him at the scene as he was bleeding out. Typical police procedure. I've been shot. Get on the ground, put your hands behind your back. Like, I've been shot, I need help. Bam, bam, bam. They shoot you some more. Typical police procedure. Welcome to America. This is in Rome, but still. Oh, I guess the Italian authorities behave like the American authorities, I see. Okay. They interrogated him as he was bleeding out from an impalement from a fence at the Coliseum. Love that for him. God, you couldn't wait till he got to the hospital and we knew if he was going to make it or not? Y'all got a bright light out there in his face? Tell us who did this to you. And he's like, I did it to myself. And they're like, it's no way. Not the gun drop buttons. Oh God, I can't. I just can't believe they did a whole interview with him impaled. Anyways, in 2015, 2 California women ages 21 and 25 were arrested on suspicion of carving letters J for Jessica and N for Nicole into a brick wall outside of the Coliseum and then posing for selfies in front of their handiwork. They were charged with aggravated damage to a building of historical interest. Oh, this is those tourists that have been destroying shit. I thought you were going to tell me that Nicole and Jessica were impaled by something. I'm glad they're alive. But I thought this was going somewhere else. Oh, it's talking about how disrespectful all these people are. I love that they put their ages in there. In 2015, Jessica and Nicole were approximately 21 and 25 years old. You're going to see a theme here. In 2021, 2 American men, ages 24 and 25, were fined approximately $900 each for breaking into the Coliseum before dawn to drink beers inside. Okay, listen, I can't even be mad at them. That's actually pretty dope. They better be lucky they didn't go to jail. But that's actually, they was good and drunk too. They're like, oh shit, the pub's closing. Let's get a bag to go and let's go to the Coliseum. And then they're drunk and they decide to break in. That's a pretty badass story. Be grateful you didn't go to jail. That's a badass story. Me and my friend broke into the fucking Coliseum and drank beer in the Coliseum alone. Imagine how cool that is. Thanks, Trisha. Oh Lord, it's so funny. Like, common theme though. Listen, it's not that we was all young once. That's why I know how old these youngins are before I know their age, because I was right there with them. I broke into my high school auditorium. The school was closed and we broke in. Spent like half the afternoon. It was nighttime too. Spent like half the night in there chilling. So it's just what kids did back in the day, okay? You broke into shit, you drank, you smoked a little dope, then you grew the fuck up. It's just, I'm glad these kids ain't drinking and drugging like we were. They're not. Statistically speaking, they're just not falling into it. I think that that's the only thing, in my opinion, that came from social media that's good, is that these kids see for themselves firsthand the damage that alcohol and drugs wreaks on a human life, and they are staying away from it. I'm glad. I'm glad. I know my parents' biggest fears was me getting wrapped up in shit, and that's exactly what I did. But that's probably because they didn't teach me or talk to me about anything. You gotta teach people and talk to people about things. Hold on, what did you say? One time me and some friends broke into JFK Stadium. Oh, wow. Okay. No, don't do that, Natalie. Just go to Daytona and get a stupid tattoo, and then you'll feel better. You'll be like, oh my God, that was so dumb. Like, I don't need to drink or do drugs. Like, no, you just got to find a positive way to kind of get out, you know? Go on vacation in Cancun and sleep with the pool boy. Don't do that. You might get something. No, I think that it's, you know, I don't know. I think that when a child is reared in the right direction from early childhood, sports, academics, music, any kind of extracurricular activities, the reason that we have those things is to gear children in the right direction towards the most successful way of life. I didn't get any of that. My life was spent flip-flopping, and so it's no surprise that I ended up part of the juvenile justice facility center and then prison, because that's what happens. Statistically speaking, most people that grow up in the foster care system have a very rough life for the rest of their life. I don't know why people don't know this. I don't know why people don't know this. That's why it is imperative to guide children in the right direction, to give them the best potential outcome, positive outcome. I did not get that. My parents did not know anything about early childhood development. They didn't know anything about rearing children. They didn't even get reared themselves. My parents were a product of their failed environment, you know, their childhood failed environment. Where is the vape? And that spread over into my life, and now that's spread over into my kids' lives. I think that's what pisses me off the most, is my stupidity. My stupidity has hurt my children. It sucks. It sucks. I remember trying to connect with my parents as a child, and they were just completely incapable. I think that my mother's mother never bonded with her, and my mother never... I don't think that my mother's mother bonded with her, my grandma Millie. I don't think my grandma bonded with my mother, and I don't think that my mother bonded with me. Which is very common. It's called maternal deprivation. Now, after my mother had more kids, she did better. Every child she had, she got better, you know, but like the first two, she fucked us up. My older brother is in prison. He's a piece of shit, child abuser. Like, he was convicted of messing with his neighbor's daughter. He also messed with me. There's a police report out of Alamance County, North Carolina. It was filed in 2013. You can find it at the sheriff's department. It's public record. He was charged with sexual battery for assaulting me. And I told the cops, I said, he's going to harm somebody. And they dropped the charges. And a few weeks later, he was arrested for molesting a child. And I don't think I'll ever get over that. I don't think I'll ever get over it. Alamance County is one of the most crooked sheriff's offices in North Carolina. They have been consistently for decades. Terry Johnson is the sheriff, and he's a piece of shit. They run on the good old boy system. They ignore victims. And they make new victims themselves by charging people that are innocent with crimes they didn't commit. There's tons of lawsuits pending, and there's already been lawsuits that have been settled, if you think I'm joking. Alamance County. I just want to be clear, because, you know, people want to say that I have no merit to what I'm saying, but they don't want to go and do the hard work themselves. They don't want to be patient for me to do it. So if anybody's curious, you can look all of this up. It's crazy. It's sickening. My mom really fucked him up. and she really fucked me up. And then with the siblings, they got the better end of the stick, and so they don't even remember. I'm older. They don't even remember. It's crazy how siblings can come from the same household and have different perspectives on the upbringing. It's like y'all were living two separate lives in the same home. It happens all the time. That's actually very common with older and younger siblings. The older one has a better concept of the family dynamics than the younger one, because by the time the younger one is growing up, the parents have got their shit together. How convenient. That also creates a lot of distrust, and the family is not like in harmony, and it causes a lot of tension between older siblings and younger siblings, because the older siblings remember and the younger ones have this false image of who the parents were. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, be grateful, Natalie, that you didn't go through no crazy times like that. And if you want to have a wild time, you bring your ass down here to Florida this summer, and we'll have a wild time. Oh, Lord. We won't. We'll go to the beach and be lazy. We won't. That's a wild time to me, getting burnt by the sun, getting beat by the wind. That's a wild time to me, forgetting to drink my water. I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to perish. I forgot my water. I'm too old for this shit. Like, you know, I guess you grow up. You really do. Some of us, you know. I'm glad. No, never be ashamed that you didn't make mistakes, honey. Be proud. Be proud that you were ahead of the curve. Because some people don't even have the level of intelligence to realize that they're making a mistake. They're living in ignorance. They don't even realize they're making mistakes. They just think that this is the way of the world, because that's what they've been taught, and that's what they're being showed. Yeah, I love my siblings and stuff, but we definitely have different ideas of our upbringing. And, you know, I was the only one that went, well, my older brother, he was given up for adoption. That's the one that's all fucked up in the head. And, you know, honestly, it's not even his fault he's fucked up in the head. I know that for a fact. I grew up with him. Do you know how much it must have hurt him to grow up in a separate home, watching all of his other siblings grow up with a mother and a father? My brother, my older brother, my mother was 16 when she had him. She was either raped by her cousin and or they had some kind of sexual relationship. The family has never been open about this. He is still alive, my mother's cousin. My mother is deceased. They have every reason to protect him, and they never protected her when she was 16 pregnant by her cousin. It's still unclear. I don't know if there was alcohol or drugs involved. I don't know if this was intentional. I don't know if this was consensual. I don't know if this was assault. But the fact that my mother would never speak of this leads me to believe that something happened. My mother never spoke of this. She actually would revolt at the mentioning of anything dealing with my older brother. Like, she would have a visceral negative reaction. That leads me to believe that there was some trauma there. Regardless, even if it was consensual, my mother was pretty much forced to give up this boy, my older brother. So my mother's mother, my grandma Millie, knew a couple, Jay and Barbara. And they were an elderly couple, but they wanted my older brother. And so my mother gave over adoption to Barbara and Jay. Barbara, a few years later, when my older brother was about 4, 5, or 6, Barbara died from cancer, leaving Jay as the only surviving foster father for my older brother. So my grandmother Millie started allowing Jay to drop my older brother off at her house so that all of us siblings could play together and also get to know each other, and my grandmother could help Jay since his adoptive mother had passed away. Well, when we were I would have been about 8 or 9. He would have been about 10 or 11. They set us all down, all of the siblings, all my brothers and me, and they told us that we were siblings. We didn't even know we were siblings. They never told us. So then we find out that he's our brother, you know. I don't know. So he spent time at my grandma's house growing up, watching me and my other siblings being picked up by his mother. I'm just saying that shit like that fucks kids up in the head. I'm speaking from personal experience. You know why they even had to tell us that we were siblings? Get this shit. They had to tell us that we were siblings because me and my older brother had a crush on each other. That's what kids do. Anybody with any ounce of sense would know that no child of 8 or 9 years old should have a crush on anyone. That is a red flag for sexual abuse in the home. So while I'm getting sexually abused by my biological father, my parents are telling us that we're siblings. That interest in a boy or a girl should have led my parents to the basic baseline knowledge that I'm getting sexually molested. My interest in little boys at such a young age is a red flag for sexual abuse in the home. But my parents were so ignorant, they weren't paying attention. They never were. They were very ignorant. I'm not trying to be mean. I love my mother to death. And she was a good woman at what she did. But there was a lot she didn't know about. They should have knew immediately that I was getting abused. Nobody paid attention. I was having behavioral problems. I was fighting people. I was biting people. I was stabbing students, hitting teachers. Children at 6 years old don't behave that way unless there is some kind of trauma going on in the home. Usually it's a combination of things like maternal deprivation, sexual abuse, drugs and alcohol exposure in the home. All of that I had. How do educators and therapists not know that something's going on when they're trained to know that something's going on? They just ignored it. They just ignored it. So I started getting crushes when I was like 6, 7 years old. That's not normal. That is a sign of sexual abuse. It's crazy looking back now. It's like they were trying to make all these moves to make themselves look good to society, and the entire time they were ignoring all of the problems of the home. If my mother was going to give her son up, she should have cut off contact. One of the most heartless things that she ever could have done was to force him to witness her be a mother to other children after she gave him up. It fucked him up in the head, and he will never be right again. It's weird. It's weird. My older brother never really stood a chance. He started having behavioral problems after Barbara died. When his adoptive mother died, he started doing the same shit that I was doing. He was fighting people in school. We didn't even go to school together. The only time we would see each other was when, like, sometimes on the weekends, or like sometimes all of the neighborhood kids would be out there for a birthday party or something, and he would get invited. First of all, we look nothing alike. He looks like his dad. I look like our mom. So it's kind of weird because nobody could tell that we were siblings. And I know that that bothered him because there would be like family get-togethers for Christmas and stuff. And he would be there. And me and my other brothers would be around our mom. And then he would be off by himself. That does something to a kid psychologically that is irreversible. They feel unwanted, unloved, like they weren't good enough. I always saw this resonating off it, like radiating off of him. They made a lot of mistakes, and a lot of those mistakes were centered around them looking good to the general public. That's the only thing my family ever cared about. How's it gonna look to the masses? Fuck the masses. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? It's crazy. It's crazy. My defiantness was born the day that they expected me to give a fuck about what society thought. I have been this way from the fucking start. From the start. Defiant as fuck because it doesn't make sense. Thank God for whatever built-in mechanism he put in me to know the difference between right and wrong. I've been having problems since I was a child because shit don't make sense. The ways of the world do not make sense. It's not right morally, ethically, and by God's word. And I knew that from the very fucking beginning, and it caused me a lot of problems. And, you know, those things snowball when you're getting abused. Then you go to school and you start acting out. Somebody should have knew. That's my point. Somebody should have knew that something was going on, and they clearly did because they took me from my parents several times. So they should have knew. It's just appalling. It's appalling that my mother thought that that was normal to give him up and then make him witness her raising other children. It breaks my heart for him. I understand why he's fucked up in the head. It's just crazy. How is that going to look? How is that going to look? Tell her you hope it looks crazy as hell. I hope they think I'm crazy as hell and they leave me alone for eternity. What are you talking about? I don't even want to talk to that motherfucker. How do I care how it's going to look to them? I don't even like them. Like, what is wrong with people? I don't like nobody until I get to know them, and you shouldn't either. These people ain't safe. They crazy. I have zero interest in caring about the masses. They always cared so much. I mean, down to the clothes I wore and shit, too. Like, they were always just, oh, God, y'all. Where's that magnesium? Oh, let's try the citrus salt. Yeah, I don't get it. It's really crazy. That my grandma like offered to watch him, knowing good and well. I mean, it's like they didn't think about the long-term repercussions of how that was going to affect him mentally. Do you not think about, like, how can I put it? I don't know. I mean, and for her to be so cold towards him, she was so cold towards him. She never hugged him, never touched him, never said any nice words to him, never gave him positive words of encouragement, never said she was proud of him. Like, that never come from my family anyways. You'll never hear somebody in my family say, oh, I'm proud of you. That would never happen because they weren't normal people. If you did something amazing and successful, they would sit back and hate you for being successful because they're miserable and they roll in their own pity. These are not, I'm not saying that they were horrible people, but they weren't the best people. They fucked me up. It was never about what's in the benefit of the kid. What's in the benefit of us. Always. It's disturbing. My stepfather particularly was a very selfish man. He cared more about a fucking $50,000 sports car than he did putting a roof over our heads. We were living in a $2,000 fucking trailer while he drove around a brand new truck and a brand new Corvette. He always had money for sports cars, but we didn't never have no fucking money for bills. So he just wanted to look good to society while his family starved and my mother stressed. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah, you know what's crazy, Sally, is that my mom was actually looking forward to getting a new house, and then he comes home with his fucking sports car, and, I don't know, man. It was just crazy. We needed a new house. We were in this tiny little trailer. There wasn't enough room, and we'd been in it for like 10 or 15 years 10 years at this point. And he comes home with it was Christmas of 99. Y2K was about to happen. And he come home a few days before Christmas with a 2000s. It was a year 2000 Corvette. It's crazy. Like, We were all expecting the economy to collapse and the world to come to an end, and this man is out buying a $50,000 sports car, Christmas of '99. My mother is over here running herself ragged, buying bottled water, batteries, canned food. She's literally jarring her own canned food, thinking that the world is going to come to an end, and this motherfucker is out here at the Chevy dealership. You can't make this stuff up. I do not know what she saw in this man at all. There was not one good quality about this person. Not one. Not one good quality. And you know, it's crazy because I'm exactly like him. He was angry all the time. He's always bitching about the world. I am my father's daughter. My stepfather's daughter. It's crazy. Yeah, he was a grumpy brute. Never smiled, never laughed, never played, always in a bad mood. That's what leads me to believe that maybe he was doing drugs. Now that I look back as an adult, I think there was probably more when my mom first met him, and after they got married, I think he probably chilled out a lot. But I remember when I was a kid, I would smell marijuana in the house. I could smell the smoke coming out from underneath the door, and I was probably 6 or 7 then. And I know that they had friends that they hung around with that would come over and drink, and they would like play cards. One of those friends, my dad would cheat on my mom with many years after that. Crazy. But yeah, I think that he run the house in a manner, my stomach hurts so bad, y'all. He run the house in a manner that was like inciting fear and control, and it was ran like a communist house. Like feelings and emotions were not even existent. You weren't allowed to talk about anything. If you had a feeling or emotion, you better ball it up and shove it up your ass. And then I remember after I told my grandma about the sexual abuse, they put me in therapy and put me on medicine and stuff and put me in the hospital. And freaking, like, he had a huge problem with that. He was always mad at my mom for visiting me in the hospital and mad at my mom for being there for her kid. Little did he realize that if my mother wasn't with him, DSS wouldn't have been there anyways. It's crazy. They're crazy. Oh, thanks, Sally. Same to you. We all have it hard. You remember that? Y2K was crazy. I think, how old was I? I don't know. I feel like I was in middle school. They grounded me that night. I was horse playing in the living room, and they got pissed, and they were like, go to your room. I remember that. It was fucking 99. My grandma was there and everything. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't even crack jokes in my house. Cracking jokes in my house got you grounded. No wonder I'm laughing all the time now. I wasn't allowed to when I was a child. Wasn't allowed to laugh. Wasn't allowed to play. Who does that to a fucking child? That son of a bitch is alive, and he better pray I never run into him. Fucking pervert. After my brother came along, one of my brothers, and then my dad's 2 kids would come over, twins. He was cool with them, but he treated me like shit. It's weird. Absolutely weird. The older I got, and the older my other brothers got, the more chiller he became. But like when we were a kid, he was an absolute piece of shit. I mean, and he was always a piece of shit to me. My stomach hurts. Thank you, Cecilia. I need to do a video, you guys. I've been dreading it because I don't know. Because of the filming. That's why. Because of the filming. Because I hate the filming. You sit down to film a video. You take 50 fucking takes. You don't like none of them. Then you start over again. And next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you still ain't got nothing filmed. People do not understand how hard it is to pre-film a video. It's easier for me just to be myself. You know, I feel like when I have to pre-film, then I have to be like prim and proper. And it's a lot. It's a lot. I need to do it. I said I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it. But I just don't know when. I don't know when. I'd like to start at the beginning. Because there's a lot that people just will never understand. Unless I start at the beginning. Context is everything. You know, basic things like maternal deprivation, people don't know much about that. And that happens so much. If you don't bond with your baby, you don't have a relationship with your baby. If you don't have a relationship with your baby, you're not going to be able to communicate with your child. If you can't communicate with your child, then you're going to be building distrust in the home. The family circle of trust is not going to be a family circle of trust. It's going to be a fucking squiggly line heartbeat of hell. Certain things like early childhood development, maternal deprivation, trauma in the home, they're not talked about enough. People genuinely just don't know where they're going wrong. And medical providers don't want to tell people because people can't accept reality. Because they operate on their feelings, not on facts. I don't give a fuck. If I was a nurse and I saw a baby having behavioral problems because the mother is not loving the child, I would say that. Hey, you know she's having behavioral issues because you haven't bonded with her, right? What was that one child's name? Beth? I told y'all about her years ago. Who was the child, Beth, with maternal deprivation, anger problems? And this child was beyond angry. She was called the child of rage. Her name is Beth Thomas. She was 6-year-old, and she appeared on a TV docuseries about child psychopaths. Maternal deprivation is how psychopaths are created in society. Look at any most serial rapists. They had a horrible relationship with who? Their mother, their mom. Maternal deprivation is so common, especially nowadays, because mothers are busy with work. They are sent back to work. They are not given enough maternity time. There is no time to bond with baby because they are taking care of baby. They are taking care of other kids. They are taking care of their career. They are taking care of the household. They are trying to pay bills, and they're juggling it all. This is why society is going bad from the inside out. Beth Thomas had extreme behavioral problems. She was actually featured in a documentary called The Child of Rage in '92, which featured shocking footage of her telling her psychiatrist she wanted to kill her parents. Now, this is some of the same behavior that I was having when I was a child. I wanted to kill my siblings. I wanted to kill my parents. They actually put me in a mental hospital for this. It's so amazing to me how in '92 we knew about maternal deprivation, because this was the same. I would be admitted into the hospital a year later. This was in '92. I did my first hospital stay in Chapel Hill in '93. I was 6 years old. They knew what maternal deprivation was. But instead of classifying me where I would fall through the DSM-5, they said, oh, we don't know what's wrong with her. And they put me on meds, and they played a game for 3 years with my brain and drugs until I finally came out and told my grandmother that I was getting sexually molested. But even not knowing that information, the doctors and psychiatrists should have been able to look at my family dynamics and tell that I never bonded with my mother. But they didn't do that. They just put me on drugs. She also admitted to sexually abusing her younger brother, torturing the family dog, and killing a nest of baby birds. Her brother also had to go to the hospital because Beth repeatedly smashed his head into a concrete floor in a bid to kill him. Beth and her brother were adopted from a situation of severe neglect, and she was later diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder. This comes from her not being able to properly attach to people. When I say that I have attachment problems, it's on this level. Because her mother never bonded with her, now she doesn't know how to bond with other people. She doesn't know how to be social. It's a rare but serious condition where young children fail to make healthy attachments with parents or caregivers due to extreme abuse. RAD is the most common diagnosis of children who have been adopted, with their new parents struggling to cope with violent outbursts aimed at them and family pets, destructive behavior, and self-harm, triggered from their trauma early starts. It emerged that Beth had grown up neglected and sexually abused by her biological father until she was 19 months old. And as I've said here, it is my belief that I was being sexually abused probably from my birth until 6 years old. Well, 9 when I told. When these things are being done to you, whether they're sexual, psychological, physical, emotional abuse, when they're being done to you, it stops your brain from properly developing. It's almost like you come to a halt developmentally. Where the abuse starts, you stop developing. This is why we see a lot of women who were playful and joke and laugh all the time, because they never had a childhood, because their childhood was halted by trauma and abuse. They literally stop growing up psychologically the moment that the abuse starts. Beth's situation was so bad that they didn't know what to do with her. Her and John's mom had died when she was 1, and her brother, who was 7 months old when they were taken by Children's Services, had a strangely shaped head due to being left on his back in his cot all day long. So now we have a better picture of what the family dynamic was like with Beth, her brother John, and the newborn baby born into this home with 2 parents who were being abusive towards these children. This infant, his head was completely flat. That tells me that maternal deprivation absolutely was in this home, because the baby was being completely ignored to the point that his head had formed to the crib. So the mother was ignoring the baby, probably feeding him and changing him and walking away. If that. This is what maternal deprivation is. And it's my belief that the first 2 to 3 years of my life, my mother was not even around. It's my belief that I was actually living with my grandmother most of the time, which was very common back then. It was reported that the front of the infant's head was bulbous and the back was completely flat. Beth saw a series of psychiatrists who struggled to help her develop empathy. This is another thing. When these children are getting abused in this capacity, as I said, their development stops. Emotions they are not able to regulate their emotions, and there's a lack of empathy and compassion. This is the breeding grounds for a psychopath. It's crazy. This is basic psychology. Basic. And most people do not even know this. Why is this shit not taught in school? What happened to home economics? I think we need to bring it back. We need to teach people from the ground up how to be parents. So they did intensive therapy and restrictions with Beth. What they would do is they began setting extreme restrictions on the young girl, making her ask permission for everything, and then again they had to lock her in her room at night because she would come out and steal kitchen knives and try to kill people. I did that. Within a year, she was able to share a room with her biological daughter and had developed empathy. She had stopped self-harming and was remorseful for how she treated her brother. So through intensive therapy, conditioning, and altering her thinking, they were able, in a sense, to reform her. Now today, Beth is a functioning, happy member of society. She has a family and kids, and she's a wonderful woman today. But this was a pivotal moment in her life. This could have went in the opposite direction. She could actually be in prison, or would be in prison. If this intervention wouldn't have happened, she would be in prison right now, or either dead, because she did not have any empathy or remorse, and she wanted to kill people. It's kind of crazy that that's the only case. Reactive attachment disorder in children. Stats. Shut up. So it looks like they're estimating that only 1 to 2% of children in the general population have this. But it also goes on to state, but it's more prevalent in children who have experienced abuse and neglect, especially those in foster care. I'd be willing to bet that that number is doubled, if not tripled or quadrupled. Like, it's crazy. Like, because of the misdiagnosis going on in this country with Big Farm being pushed frontwards, they don't want to properly diagnose children because they're trying to make money off of them. The only thing that they can do for this is, once again, free therapy. And it's not free. It's still $120-something an hour. But that's free in comparison to a lifetime prescription of fucking Adderall, Xanax, and Depakote. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars. While accurate statistics are difficult to obtain, what did I just fucking say? The rarity of the disorder is the rarity of this disorder is underreported. It's estimated that 35 to 40% of maltreated children in foster care develop RAD. 30 to 40 fucking percent. 35 to 40%. How do you start off with 1 to 2%? Then you end with 35 to 40% of maltreated children in foster care develop RAD. Listen to that. So going back to what I was talking about earlier, it's misunderstood that these children are well taken care of, loved, and guided in the right direction. Here we have a statistic that shows 35 to 40% of children in foster care actually develop reactive attachment disorder. And it comes from abuse, neglect, or those children in foster care. They'll have extreme behavioral problems. Fighting, biting, scratching, anywhere, everywhere. Everywhere that they are showing their ass. They're screaming, they're cussing, they're acting out sexually. They have crushes on people. That is actually a sign of childhood abuse. We see this in children 11, 12, 13, 14, sure. But to see a child that is boy crazy at 7, 8 years old, that is a key sign that that child has been sexually abused. There's ages for this shit to make it normal. And it's not, kids are going to have stupid teenage crushes, but not, please don't blow up the chat, y'all. They're going to have stupid teenage crushes when they get to that age of preteen. But to have a child that is 6, 7, 5 years old acting out sexually, or they have a huge interest in the opposite sex or their sex, that is a red flag for childhood sexual abuse. You need to take your child to a therapist, honey, a doctor. Something has happened. That's not normal. But with kids that have RAD, we see them acting out sexually. They have a peak interest in the opposite sex or the same sex. They get really close to maybe some of their best friends and will start acting out sexually. It's very common for them to be aggressive towards teachers, social workers, their own parents. They typically threaten to kill other people, their loved ones. They will have a lack of empathy, remorse, compassion. They don't even have the concept of those 3 emotions. A child with reactive attachment disorder will go out of their way, hit a kid. Let's say it's a classroom setting. Let's say I'm at little baby Brooke and I punch little baby Brandon in the face, and then the teacher comes up to reprimand that behavior, and I look dead at the teacher and I say, I don't give a fuck, I'll punch him again. Now you're starting to see the way I still operate. I would never do that. I don't start shit, I finish it. And I've actually always been that way. But you see what I'm saying. There's a lack of understanding for empathy and compassion that what I did to Brandon was wrong. And I don't care. I don't care. That teacher can tell me 1,000 times, this is wrong. You shouldn't do that. That is wrong. That's being bad. And I'm still standing there saying, I don't give a fuck. I'll fight you next, teacher. The level of aggression in these children is beyond most people's comprehension. These children are completely out of control. They sneak out of the house. They set fire to the house. They threaten to kill their siblings. They threaten to kill their parents, and they've attempted to. When a child is having that many behavioral issues, there's a reason for it. That child is not just a bad child. Something is being done to that child. Now, whether they're witnessing domestic violence in the home, abuse of some sort, children just don't go bad. I've always wondered if people were born bad or if they go bad. It is my belief that they go bad. As of right now, I might change that later, but it is my belief that they go bad. Look at most famous rapists. They hated their parents. What didn't Ted Bundy despise? Ted Bundy's relationship with his mother. A lot of these killers absolutely despise women early life. He didn't even grow up with his family. He was a foster kid. Ted Bundy was born Theodore Robert Cowell on November 24th of 46 to Eleanor Louise Cowell at the Elizabeth Lunn Home for Unwed Mothers. He was born to an unwed mother. This was the 1940s. More than likely, she wouldn't have been allowed to keep him. His biological father's identity has never been confirmed. His original birth certificate assigns paternity to a salesman and a United States Air Force veteran named Lloyd Marshall, though a copy of it listed his father is unknown. Louise claims she met the war veteran named Jack Worthington, who abandoned her soon after she became pregnant. So he grew up with his grandparents. He was not adopted. He grew up with his grandparents. Maternal deprivation. That means that he never bonded with his mother. The first 3 years of his life, he lived in Roxborough neighborhood of Philadelphia with his maternal grandparents. The couple raised him as their son to avoid the social stigma, caring what people think, that accompanied childbirth outside of wedlock at the time. He was told that his mother was his sister. It's so crazy that I was just talking about how my brother was my brother, but we didn't even know we were family. Shit like this is exactly what fucks people up in the head. Especially when it's being done to them when they're children. It's confusing. And they don't even give explanations. Back then, they just did shit and they didn't tell you why. At least nowadays, these gentle parents will actually sit you down and explain shit to you. I do appreciate that. Communication is a form of respect. Well, there we go. Maternal deprivation. Psychopath. Let's see if I can find another one. Richard Ramirez's early childhood. Basic shit that should be taught. I just don't understand. They don't want us to know. They don't want us to know. No. Oh, violent alcoholic. Richard Ramirez was the Night Stalker with the devil triangle on his hand in court, remember? His teeth went every which way. He was born to Mexican immigrants. He's the youngest of 5 children. His father was a railway laborer, and he was a violent alcoholic who was prone to fits of anger and often resulted in physical abuse towards the household. And I know some of y'all were like, well, my parent was an alcoholic and it didn't fuck me. Okay, well, good for you, honey. You're a little bit stronger than these, okay? That's all that means. People handle shit differently. We've all been through similar things. We all just handle it differently. Some of us, the trauma happened to, in my opinion, after our conscience formed. Some of us, the trauma happened before our conscience formed. We need to look into that more. Who else? Give me one. Give me a killer. I am near the beach, Ralph. I'm always at the beach. Hey, Gareth. I'm trying to think of another one. Who was another bad one? Oh, John Wayne Gacy. Let's see what the one that killed, the clown killer that liked to kill little boys. John Wayne Gacy, early childhood. He might have I feel like he hated his mother, but I might be wrong. His father was an alcoholic who beat him frequently during violent rages. Interesting. You starting to see the pattern here? Serial killers who hated their mother. Maternal deprivation. Oh God. Henry Lee Lucas, Edmund Kemper. Ed Kemper. Some puzzle over why men that dislike their mothers kill innocent women than the monster herself. In fact, some serial killers lust. Some serial lust killers murder both the mother and the unrelated women. Oh, so they murdered their mother too. God, my stomach hurts so bad. And look at people like Ed Gein. You remember the nipple belt man? The leg lampshade, the actual skin. He would skin women and he would turn them into clothing and furniture. Ed Gein, his mother raised him to hate women. She taught him that women were evil and that they were all whores. This turned him into a fucking monster. It sure did. It did. After his mother died, that's when his killing spree started. I really do. I think that now that I'm thinking about this and reading about this and learning about this with you guys, I really do think that narcissists, psychopaths, and killers are born. I think that that it's created after they're born. I think that people's upbringing leads them into who they are as adult. I really do. There's been a lot of serial killers that killed women because they despised their mother. That's actually like the most common type of serial killer. I'm sorry. That's so funny. Nipple belts. How many nipples would I need to make a belt for my waist? That is so scary. So scary. A nipple belt. I didn't even try this one. This is that salt. It's citrus salt. Y'all, I think I gotta go use the potty. I do. I love you guys. I'm sorry to run. I'm so sorry. My stomach hurts. I don't know what's going on with it sometimes. Living out of a car, you just never want to trust nothing, you know? Well, I'm gonna go use the bathroom and then I'm gonna put on some makeup and we're gonna do something. I don't know. I need to maybe... Is that a chia seed? It is. I need to maybe go to Goodwill and see if I can find me a lunchbox and something for work to wear tonight. I want to be comfortable, you know, and I don't want to be... I'm feeling... I got a lot of body dysmorphia going on this morning, so I just want to be comfortable. So we might go find something for work, but we got to wash clothes too. I really do think that there needs to be more focus on early childhood development. I wish that I would have knew the stuff that I know now when I was 17, 18 having my son. I've had to teach myself about all of this stuff, and it's only been through therapy that got me here. But I really do think that people's early childhood development dictates whether or not they're going to become a complete crazy person, a psychopath, a narcissist, even, you know, even struggling with things like CPTSD or PTSD is bad enough. You know, depression and anxiety is a life killer. Being left with something like that from your upbringing is fucked up. That's really fucked up. And it's preventable. All of this is preventable. It's just sad that Big Pharma has taken over this country and mental health services have been put on the back burner. It really is. But I think we can make some positive change in the world together. I really do. Somehow. But I love you guys, and we'll talk this afternoon, and pray for me, because God knows I need it, and I'm praying for you guys. And thank you, Trisha, for your continued support, and the Rubies. Bye, y'all. Be safe. Be safe at the storage shed. Don't get locked in there. It's hot. Bye.